Hi all, Violet here, second generation homeschooling mom of 3. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an infant. Today I wanted to share with you some of our favorite music resources, so let's get into it. So these 3 books are part of the Child's Introduction series. Not all the books in the series are music. Most of them are geography, history, art, other things, mythology. But these 3 we've used for music and we've really enjoyed them, so I wanted to share them with you today. This first one is The Story of the Orchestra. This is the old edition. The new edition is called A Child's Introduction to the Orchestra, and it doesn't have the CD. The newer editions, instead of having CDs, they have all of the music listed on their website, and then they tell you to go to the website and click on the track for each lesson. And I'll show you what it looks like inside so that actually makes sense to you. So this first book is the orchestra book. This is the one that we started with. Here's the table of contents. They start with composers, and then they go through orchestra instruments. This book has been around for a long time. I was homeschooled as a child, and my mom used this book with my brother and I to teach us about the orchestra, and I liked it so much that I got it for my daughter when we started studying music. All right, so you can see each composer gets 1 page. They have a little bit about their life, and then they have some little interesting facts, and then they have a track that's a selection of music to listen to. So for us, we have a CD player. We use CDs. I think they're really easy for little kids. My kids are all in elementary or younger. They're really easy for little kids to do on their own, and I don't have to worry about them breaking the CD player because I just buy a really cheap one. And with this, you can download the music on their website. If something happens to the CD, I could just burn a new one. So that's really nice. I can read this to my daughter, and then she can go put the CD in and dance to it or listen to it, whatever. So in this little track box, it tells you what piece of music you're going to listen to and a little bit about it, and then it usually has something for you to listen to in the piece. So for this one, it says, if you listen closely, you can hear all sorts of wonderful sounds that will remind you of new leaves, chirping birds, and flowers of spring. So that's really good. It's getting them to start listening to the music more carefully, listening for specific things instead of it just sort of being, a wall of sound. Especially if your children haven't listened to a lot of classical music, it sometimes can be a bit hard to get into it. So this, I'm looking for a specific page. You can see most of these, here we go. Most of the composers have tracks, but some don't, and that really bothers me. I wish they all had tracks. I've checked the new version out from the library, by the way, and they haven't added tracks for these composers that don't have tracks. They've just changed the prompts to tell you to go to the CD, to tell you to go to their website instead, and they have instructions for how to access things on the website in the back of the book. It's very self-explanatory. If you look on the website, I'm sure you could figure it out. I'll link the website down below. It's the publisher's website, Black Dog and Leventhal. But so for these composers that didn't have their own, I actually put together a YouTube playlist so that I could find the video really easily, and I just play that for my daughter. So I actually have the playlist that goes with this book I moved it to this channel when I started this channel, so you can access that if you're interested. I think it has like 9 or 10 videos for a few things that just didn't have tracks on the CD. All right, so the orchestra section has, for each part, it'll have an overview of whatever section of the orchestra you're learning about. And then for each instrument, it's laid out very similarly to the composer. It's 1 page, tells you about the instrument, some fun facts, and then a piece of music to listen to. And then here you're specifically listening for whatever instrument you're learning about. So this is really good. Both my daughter and my son really enjoyed this. We did this for my daughter's first grade year. So she was 6 and my son was 3. And they both really liked listening to the pieces of music and dancing to them. My daughter liked that so much that she asked if there was more music just like it that we could do. And when at the time they didn't have jazz published yet, so I picked up this ballet book and she loved it. My son liked it too, but my daughter loved it. She does ballet and she was really excited to do this. So this is the old edition with the CD. And here's the table of contents. So this one is set up slightly differently for each ballet. So at the beginning is an introduction to ballet and talks a little bit about the history of ballet and some dance moves. But then for each ballet, they go through the story of the ballet, and then most of them have a track on the CD to listen to. So again, I have put together a playlist for the ballets that don't have something in here. There's a video where you can watch the section of the ballet and listen to the music. A few of the ballets, I couldn't find anything it's just the music. I couldn't find anything to watch. Particularly Igor Stravinsky's ballet for circus elephants. There's no video of circus elephants dancing to it, unfortunately, so it's just the music. But I've got that playlist on this channel. I moved it over to this channel as well. And then they have little historical tidbits. So this one's about the way ballet costumes changed over time. They showcase. Here's the Nutcracker. You can see here it has the tracks and tells you what to listen to in the tracks. But then it also talks about famous ballerinas and ballerinos, I guess, male ballerinos. Not sure what the exact terminology is. So we really enjoyed this book as well. It was a bit more story focused than Child's Introduction to the Orchestra because it's really just going through the stories of the ballets and then listening to a selection from the ballet. But my daughter really enjoyed this book as well. My son liked it too. So this next one, A Child's Introduction to Jazz, is laid out a little bit differently yet again. This was recently published. It has no CD. And this one's much more focused on the history of jazz, and it's written like a narrative history. You can see that's reflected in the table of contents. So it does feature some of the instruments that are really important in jazz as you go along, but it's not set up like one composer is per page. It's more like a flowing history, and I'll show you in just a second. It doesn't have a CD or instructions for their website. Instead, it has QR codes, which take you right to their website. And all the tracks, again, are on their website, so that's really easy to use. So this one, you can see here's some additional songs you can listen to as well. But it's set up where you read about history, and then every few pages they have something to listen to. These don't always have something that you're listening for in the song, if that makes sense. Like some of the other ones all had, oh, listen for the piccolo, listen for something specific. In these, it'll have a quick little scan this to listen to this particular kind of band, or scan this to listen to Ella Fitzgerald singing. But it doesn't necessarily say, oh, in this song, listen to XYZ, because all of that is in the text instead, because this is more like I don't want to keep saying, oh, it's like a history book. That makes it sound really boring. I think this is going to be really fun to do as well. We're going to do it next year. But it's a little bit more narrative. Like it goes through the entire history. So it's each artist isn't confined to one page. Like they'll pop up over and over again as they tell the story of jazz. So this book is really cool. I'm really excited to do it. And again, I'll probably add a lot more music because they do have a lot of these in here, but there isn't one for every section even. In here, when they're talking about the artists, they talk about their most famous songs, so I could easily pull those into a playlist, and we'll just kind of see. I think this book is going to take us longer than the other books just because there's so many people featured in it, and I really want to do jazz justice. I don't actually know a ton about jazz, so I'm excited to learn along with my kids when we get into this next year, but that should be really fun. And then they recently published another music book, A Child's Introduction to Hip Hop. And that one, I was looking through the previews online before it was published, and it doesn't look like it has any links to listen to specific pieces of music. I'm assuming because all the artists are current, so it's easy to find their songs, and they have copyright still. So it would be harder for them to put them into a book like this. But if we finish this book early, we may end up doing hip hop as well, because we've really enjoyed this series. So I hope you found this flip through helpful. As always, I'll put links in the description box below. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you click on an Amazon link and make a purchase, I do receive a small commission. Thank you for watching.